Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of the furniture with me, Daniel. It's season 8, episode 2, and today we've got quite possibly the biggest reunion of the series so far, as we face a Crystal Palace side away from home that are spearheaded by Owen Jack, our record sale. It was all going so well for us up until a couple of games ago, but our home struggles continued, and now we're stuck down in lower mid-table. We're in the exact position we finished in the league last season, but there's just a 4-point gap between us and 22nd place. So a win today would be very much appreciated, though it's going to be a tough challenge against one of the promotion favourites. But first, let's go and look at what's been happening since the last episode. We've played quite a lot of games off camera. You can see we're 9 games in now, and after our first day of the season being a 0-0 draw, despite an entertaining end-to-end match, we've started to find form on the road, despite our continuing struggles at home. For the game against Palace today, we're going to be missing Darren Mapley, who's on loan from Palace, and James Baldock's out injured as well. Palace are still managed by Pochettino, and that's why they're doing so well. If we look at the schedule then, following from that Preston game that you saw in the last episode, we won 2-1 away at Stoke City. Lewis got a goal on the stroke of half time, and Armando Broja doubled the lead on the hour mark. They got a late goal back, but it was nothing more than a consolation. At home to Reading though, we lost 3-2. Lewis and Mapley getting the goals for us. They were sandwiched by 3 quick-fire Reading goals, and unfortunately we just couldn't get that equaliser in the second half. We then won away to Accrington on penalties in the Carabao Cup first round. A complete reserve side pretty much played. John McGeever got the goal for us and then scored again to get the winning penalty in the shootout. We then went to Charlton and lost 2-1, our only away defeat of the season so far, and I've got to show you this because it really frustrated me. It's a 93rd minute winner from Jordan Aina. Okay, he's a fullback, he got a brace in that game. I just want to show you before we look at the goals, his finishing rating's 1 and his long shot rating is 1. Okay, so we're going to go and look at the highlights from this game. We'll be back in a second with the goals. Just remember though, finishing 1 and long shots 1. So here comes the first goal, just so we can look at it. It's a throw-in on the left from Charlton. It goes back to Butcher, who's obviously gone from us in the summer. Here's Aina here, edge of the box, screamer into the corner. And then we're going to skip straight onto the last one if we can. Let's go and look at that 93rd minute winner. Remember, finishing 1, long shots 1. It's the crucial part of this. He's over on the right wing still. He's about to get the ball. And then just watch what happens here. He's gone for a 40-yard shot from the right wing with his weaker foot, no less. And it's flew into the top corner. One in a game I can understand, anyone can score a long shot at some point, but to score 2 with those ratings, I'm calling shenanigans on that one. But in the end we recovered in the following games, but it was still a little bit frustrating to be honest. We followed that up though with a 0-0 draw away at Northampton, one of the relegation favourites. It was a bit disappointing. Bobby Duncan was out injured and we missed him in that one. We then won 5-3 at home to Leeds. Broja and Duncan ending their goal droughts in spectacular fashion. Broja had just got 1 in the season before that, and Bobby Duncan hadn't scored at all. A fantastic end-to-end game, though I wasn't too impressed with the defending, but good to see both strikers on the score sheet. Our reserve side then lost 1-0 at Wigan in the Cup. 5 minutes from time we let in the goal. We could have done with another penalty shootout, as it would have been a lottery from there, but we're still getting the likes of Richard Quirk and John Gerrard games, 2 of the youth intake players from last year, so that bodes well for the future. We won 3-1 away at Norwich in the league. Keenan Davis equalised after an early Ricky Ash goal, but a Lewis penalty and Bobby Duncan again rounding off the victory in the first half. We controlled the game brilliantly in the second and continued our good away form. However, into September and struggles at home, 1-0 against West Ham on the telly and then 2-1 at home to Birmingham. Duncan got a goal back on the stroke of half time again, but we couldn't get that equaliser in the second half. Same old story at home. Teams are breaking us down, they're getting an early goal and then sitting behind the ball, and we just can't do anything to stop them. We haven't got that knack and quality, and we haven't got that extreme pace and strength that Owen Jack used to have. But we go into the Palace game today hoping to at least continue our good away form, and fingers crossed we'll be able to get a result. If we go and have a quick look at him, Owen Jack himself the hero. We're still waiting for that sell-on fee, so we could do with them doing well and getting promoted, to be honest. Owen Jack's worth £8 million now on 35 grand a week, and he scored 7 goals in 9 appearances. That's what we're missing in attack at Torquay. If we had him alongside the other 2, we'd be doing something very special at the moment. But as it is, he's at Palace, he's having a whale of a time there, and we're going to have to be very careful against him in this game. He's become a Scotland international now as well, and should he make 5 appearances, we get another little bit of money from the club. Don't forget from last year, they've also got Barley Mumba in the middle, a man who was a hero for us in non-league when he was just a teenager, did brilliantly and scored one of the winning goals in the playoff final, and as a result he's always going to be remembered fondly, despite the fact he could come and harm us again today. The last thing I wanted to show you before we play the game though is one player from the squad, Richard Quirk. We spent most of August fending off offers for him, mainly from Scottish clubs like Celtic and Rangers. We had a few from the Championship before the window shut as well. They're in the region of £3 or £4 million for a 16-year-old that's barely played, and that shows me that he's got quite some special talent. He's already in the England under-19 squad and has been going away on international duty in September. So it's going to be an absolutely brilliant opportunity for us to produce a player that will be ready for the Premier League when we're ready to challenge and get there. If he's still here when we move into the new stadium, we're going to have one hell of a player on our hands. Gerrard and McGeever are doing well as well, but Quirk is certainly the standout man. The only one who might still leave, even though the window's shut, is Marco, the centre-half. He's our first choice backup at the moment, but we're getting offers from the MLS, and as I said before, if we get $2 million in guaranteed money and then the 50% sell on as well, we'll let him go. At the moment they're about $1.5 million, so we've still got a little way to go on that one. But plenty of news on the pitch and relating to the players. We've had no more transfers, even though there was a week of the window left. We've loaned out a few of the youngsters, which I'll very quickly show you. So Leach went to Nuneaton, and then we got an offer from our affiliate club for two of our young strikers, so they've gone there to the Vanarama National League South, back where it all started. Hopefully they'll help Truro City. They're playing up front together at the moment, so it's really nice that we can help out the other clubs in the region. But let's get into this game against Palace. I'd imagine they'll be favourites. They're fourth in the league. They're flying high. They've got one of the best goal scorers in the division, and we're missing a couple of key players too. They're in strong form, unbeaten in 4, whereas we've had those back-to-back home defeats. They're favourites as a result, but away from home you just never know what we could produce. Let's have a look at the lineup then. We've got to find a replacement for Mapley, so I think it'll be Rowan McDonald on this occasion. I think the rest of the team is just about fit. We've still got a few injuries and a couple of other reserves that aren't quite good enough. But all in all, a fairly decent sized squad. The only one we'd probably like to loan out is Devine. He could do with football rather than sitting in our reserves. But our lineup for today is Alex Bass in goal, Brown, Marco and Williams are the 3 centre-halves, Nico Williams at right wing back, Lewis on the left wing, and then we've got McDonald and Stevens in the middle. We'll probably just swap those round actually, as Stevens is a much better passer of the ball. And then David Crawford's in behind Broger and Duncan up front. But let's get into the game and see if we can get a result. A positive mentality works away from home, but at Playmore, unfortunately, we're still getting caught out on the break. Let's get into it and see what we can do. It's a 4-2-3-1 for Pochettino's Palace. They've got some really good players and they start both of the two former Torquay men. Owen Jack's up front and Barley Mumba in central midfield. They've got the like of Morgan Gibbs-White, obviously a hero from our FIFA 19 career, and then Oliver Skipp and Ryan Bertrand too. So plenty of familiar names, and this is going to be a really tough game for us. Let's go and talk to the lads though. We're playing our usual formation and our assistant manager, who we're starting to build a bond with, has told us to go out and enjoy without any pressure. So we'll pass that message on to the lads and fingers crossed they'll do just that. Let's go to the kickoff and see if we can do something special. It looks like a bit of a kick clash. Why have we changed from yellow to blue against a team that play in blue and red? I have no idea. It's a little bit of a strange one that. But Pugh's got the ball at centre half and thankfully the highlight ends before they build an attack. They've got a corner now though, just 3 minutes in. Broger, the target man, heads away as far as Daly, who shoots just wide from the edge of the box, and we get away with that one as well. 4 minutes gone, now it's us on the attack. Looks like we're going to have another entertaining game on our hand. McDonald from the edge of the box, but it's just wide of the post, and that reminds me we need to change him to a Carolero, or I might even go for a central midfielder on defend, just to try and give us a more solid base. Let's see how that works. We can always change it up if need be. Alanga with the corner for Palace. Pugh heads it in. Nothing to do with the positional sense there. That's just awful man marking. Palace lead against us, and it's starting to become a bit of a crisis. If we have 3 defeats in a row, we'll certainly start to get worried. Let's see what happens from this throw though. Watson into Morgan Gibbs-White. McDonald wins it in the air and Lewis gives it to him again. We start at the back with Reece Williams. Tries to switch it, but it's a terrible ball, and Alanga, the corner taker's coming forward again. He gets to the left side of the box and goes back to Bertrand, but his cross is blocked and it's cleared away. Pugh switches it again though. We can't really get out at the moment. Palace starting to dominate and show their quality. Alanga at the back post puts it in, and this is going to be a very long day against a really good Crystal Palace side. The fact that Owen Jack hasn't even had a touch yet shows just how bad a day this could be. 25 minutes gone, it's Palace building from the back again. Rowan McDonald nicks it high up though. He finds Duncan into the box, puts it in the corner. What a finish by Bobby Duncan. McDonald did brilliantly to win the ball back so high up the pitch, and he gave the ball to Duncan, who did the rest. A wonderful finish on his weaker foot, but some brilliant build up first. It gives us a sniff, but will we make it count? Pugh's got the ball at the back for Palace. He goes all the way back to Jamal Blackman in goal. He switches it to the right back Watson, who obviously provided a cross for that second goal. He goes to Daly, inside to Barley Mumba. Alanga, the second scorer here again, tries to shoot and it's just wide, trying to add to his goal and assist, but he wasn't able to this time. Half an hour gone and we've halved the deficit, but still look concerned at the back. It's a free kick for Palace. Into the back post. Owen Jack brings it down. And Alex Bass, thankfully, knows what he'll normally do with the finish and manages to make a fantastic save at the near post. Elanga's corner's headed away by Broja. Crawford's challenged on the edge, but unfortunately it's going to be built again from Palace at the back. Wood switches it to Bertrand. They're taking advantage of the extra man out wide there. Bertrand with this corner is headed away. Daly shoots from the edge and it's blocked. And we're very much hanging on for the break here. If we go in just one goal behind, it could give us a chance in the second half. Pugh recycles possession for them, but the highlight ends at 2-1. Crawford gets the ball to Lewis in a defensive position. Long ball forward, but no one's there, and Mumba recycles it for Alanga. He's coming forward down the left. He's caused us all sorts of trouble today. Morgan gives White to Bertrand on the overlap. Reece Williams heads as far as Skip, who shoots on the volley, but it's over the bar, and it looks like we are going to survive for a few more minutes. Bertrand into the back post. I was going to say until half time, but Alanga's been left unmarked, and for all the work we do on defending set pieces, to concede 3 is absolutely appalling. Alanga scored one completely unmarked from a free kick, and he set one up from a corner with a free header for the centre half. Terrible defending. Let's have a look at Alanga's stats. They look very good, but he shouldn't be left unmarked. Half time, we're absolutely being outplayed and don't deserve to be any better than 3-1 down. We're going to assertively tell the lads it was terrible, just as our assistant manager recommends. Alex Bass isn't happy because he's made a string of good saves, but the rest of them have got to buck their ideas up. Let's get into the second half and see if they can do just that. It's Broja who takes it to David Crawford. He finds Stevens. Now it's Brown, the right centre half. Long ball over, Broja's chasing, but Pugh will get there comfortably, and that's really easy for Palace to deal with. It's a corner for Palace again. Let's see if we can defend this one. It's another free header. Wood's hit the post and it's gone wide. I have no idea what's going on today. We've barely conceded a set piece all season, and today it's just every single one. Jack's been beaten in the air at last. Crawford gets it away to Duncan. He's got a switch on. There's 2 men out there. Broja's one of them. He's got Nico Williams overlapping, but he's stopped now. Broja crosses for Crawford, who heads it straight into the keeper's arms. A really poor finish by the number 10 there. And now Watson's got a throw on the right for Palace. Daly to Morgan Gibbs White. Elanga's unmarked at the back post. The defence is all over the place today. The back three getting dragged about, and unfortunately it looks like it could be a heavy defeat. 25 minutes left, a throw on the left for Adam Lewis. He gives it to McDonald. We've also got long throw instructions on. We've been doing that all season, and today we're suddenly going short again. I'm not quite sure why that's happening. They're just ignoring every tactical plan today. Seems very unusual, this. Bertrand's got the ball on the left. He switches it to Watson. We've got warnings to close people down all the time, and one of those men is Owen Jack. It's Bertrand on the left back to Elanga. He finds Oliver Skip. Into Daly on the edge of the box. So much time and a man on the overlap. It's Watson again with a dangerous delivery, headed up more than away by Williams. Elanga shoots from the edge. It's all happening. It's goalmouth scrambles in our box, and we're doing well to hold on at 3. It's Elanga with a corner again though. Pugh's unmarked. A second time of asking, he's put it in. What on earth is going on from set pieces? We've not conceded any this season before this game. It's all completely disintegrated today. Reece Williams nearly scores from one of ours. Duncan's got the ball on the left hand side, but I'm at a complete loss to explain what's going on. I've no idea where it's come from. It's not happened all season, and suddenly we just don't know how to man mark. 20 minutes to go, the game's all but gone, so we're going to make some changes to protect players who are fatigued and also give our youngsters a run out. So Quirk will come on for Nico Williams. He's always the most tired player. We're going to also try and bring on either McGeever or Gerrard. They'll come on for Broja. We'll use Gerrard because he's homegrown at the club. He can go on as a pressing forward. And then in the number 10 role, we've got Crawford. We've got Jordan Stevens struggling as well. So do we bring on McComb? I think we do. We've brought McComb on for Stevens, Rowan McDonald alongside, and we'll just see what happens for the last 20. We're not expecting to get anything out of the game, and then I've got to go and work out after this episode why on earth we're suddenly not defending set pieces. And we're taking short throw-ins again. I've no idea what's going on. Quirk at the back post though, that would have been a moment to make today worthwhile if Richard Quirk had got his first for the club, but really good to see him adapting to that wing-back role and getting into good attacking positions. 10 minutes to go and it's still 4-1 Palace, and we are very much sliding towards the relegation zone. Down to 17th place, and this season could start to take a turn for the worse. Owen Jack holds the ball up for Skip. Let's try and avoid embarrassment. It's Alanga with the ball at the back. He goes to Williams on the left-hand side. Marco heads away as far as Crawford, and thankfully he just hoofs it clear. Bertram's got a warning to be closed down too, and we're just going to drop to cautious for the last 10, just to try and see out the game. We have been outplayed slightly, but nearly all of Palace's goals and clear-cut chances have come from us not marking at set pieces. It could have been a 1 or 2-1 game after that, a really difficult one to take. Williams on the left, Palace still got the ball, they've put it in at the back post. Mason Bennett with the goal, his first of the season to make it 5-1. Reece Williams has had an absolute shocker at centre-half, and unfortunately we've gone to cautious too late. The corner for us is headed away by Palace, they go long downfield and Morgan Gibbs-White nicks it. Who's that who's lost out? I think it's Quirk. Owen Jack's in, and just to compound the misery, he could have got a goal as well, but thankfully Alex Bass has made another wonderful save. It's Alanga with the corner. Can we mark from one? We head it away for once. Alanga gets it back in again. Mumba back to Skipper, now Alanga on the left. What a wonderful player he's been today. Let me predict something now. This Palace side under Pochettino will get promoted this season. It's just whether we can stay up. Owen Jack's finally got his goal. It's 6-1 to Crystal Palace. We're back with the ball on the left for Lewis. It looks like we may have let one or too many players go. It's a bit difficult now. Some of the senior pros have left and we're really struggling without some good players. We are missing James Baldock in the middle of defence, and my word has that shown today, as we've really looked poor at the back. And Darren Mapley in the holding role. We're not keeping possession as well without him. That's a big miss as well. And obviously we'd love to have Tagseth back, but he ran off to the MLS. Oliver Skip on the edge. Please don't concede anymore. Quirk clears it away, and we've got just 1 minute plus stoppage time to go. It's 6-1 to Palace, and it's starting to look like a crushing defeat. If there's any consolation we want, Brighton are winning 7-1 at home to Northampton, so we're at least doing better than one side. We've had 12 chances in this game. The problem is that Palace have had 32, and unfortunately we never look like getting a result out of that. It's a very disappointing performance, and even more baffling that we can't mark from set pieces. I'll have to go and dissect that after this episode, as I'm not quite sure where that's come from. We're disappointed with the lads, and it's going to be a really important game at home to relegation threatened Bradford in the next one. We've got to sort out our home form for that, otherwise we could be in big trouble very soon. Blackpool are in the FA Cup qualifying rounds. What on earth's going on there? Blackpool are in the Vanarama National League North. 3 relegations in 8 seasons, and we thought it was unrealistic that we've brought Torquay up so quickly. Blackpool are going down at the same rate of knots. They're only 3rd in that division now. I've no idea what's going on there. Were they in that division last year? We've got to go and look at this. I've been completely sidetracked. They went down in the first season, but then they were just a decent League 2 club for a while, before relegation 2 years ago, 1 year in the National League where they failed in the playoffs, and then down last season in 23rd place. Their key players are regen. He looks okay, he's on 1,300 a week, and their insecure finances are probably going to leave them in a terrible state. Blackpool struggling, that is an absolutely bizarre turn of events. One club absolutely collapsing, and that makes our eyes look a little bit less unrealistic. But let's go and look at what was said about the game. We were destroyed, it's absolutely spot on. Pochettino said they outperformed us, he's absolutely spot on as well. We don't really want to face the media, we'll send the assistant on this occasion, and there's plenty of disappointment and dissecting to do. So I'll go and do that and play the next few games. Let's go and have a look at the schedule for when we might next be back. It's hard to tell which sides are going to be down there because we don't know which ones are going to remain in the relegation battle. We had the surprise with West Ham last year, so you never know this time around. I'm looking at the start of November though. Ipswich have just been promoted from League 1. If you remember, they were chasing Reece Williams in January, even though they were a League 1 club at the time. And in Huddersfield, who were down in 22nd before this game, I'm not sure where they are now. They're down in 23rd. Ipswich are directly below us too, so those 2 games could be absolutely massive. They're both on the road where we've been better this season until that crushing in this game by Palace. So we'll be back for one or both of those two games. We haven't done a doubleheader for quite a while in this series, so it may be time to do one of those. Obviously it depends what happens off the pitch in the meantime. But that will be all for this episode. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up on the video as always. I really do appreciate your continued support with the series. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of that performance. Have any of you got an idea as to why we stopped playing our tactical game plan this time, even for the long throw-ins and things like that? I've just gone back and checked off camera. They were all still on, so I have no idea what was going on, but 3 defeats on the bounce, and it's really starting to look like a crisis for us. This Bradford game next time out is going to be absolutely huge, so hopefully we can win that and get back to decent form before the next episode. Let me know down in the comments what you think we need to do for January. It's becoming quite clear already that we will need 1 or 2 signings, but what positions do you think I need to focus on? Obviously centre half's going to be a glaring one after that game. We are probably 1 defender short. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one with Torquay United and then our other Journeyman series, The Head Coach, where we work under a director of football with no say in transfer staff or contracts. We've just finished our FIFA 19 weekly career series as well, so you can go back and check that one out if you haven't seen it already. But a massive thanks for watching as always and your continued support with the series, and we'll see you next time for what will probably be a crucial relegation 6-pointer.